All right. Let's get this show rolling. Yes, you can ask me about Ghost in the Shell, but save it for afterward. Because we do off-topic stuff at the end. Okay, it's Thursday night. Impact just ended. That means it's time to get our geek on, because I can't do the Impact stream on Thursdays. I need time to collect my thoughts a little bit. So, tonight's the night we talk about comic book geek type stuff. Got a new episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's back from hiatus. Arrow is on hiatus for the next couple of weeks, as is Flash, thankfully. So it's only one show tonight. But we've also got, there's also Ghost in the Shell. If you guys want to ask me about that, feel free. And if you want to talk about WrestleMania, okay, fine. Don't have much to say about that one anyway, but whatever. Haven't actually seen the whole show yet, but I can kind of fake it, I guess. And can you hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me, and then we'll get started. All right. I can hear myself. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the chat room if you can hear me. And I just noticed there's an emoji function in the chat room here. Has that always been there? I literally just noticed that. And now I can't get rid of it. There it goes. All right, cool. There we go. All right, let's get started. S.H.I.E.L.D. is in Agents of Hydra, which I guess is the name of this story arc. Season 4, Episode 16, What If? Fun little nod to the comics there. Daisy and Simmons enter the framework and wake up in some ass-backwards digital world where Grant Ward is alive, Hydra is the new S.H.I.E.L.D., May, Daisy, and Ward all work for it, and Fitz is the new Whitehall. So Daisy and Simmons are more than a little disoriented at first as they try to put all these pieces together. They manage to find some of their people, but waking them up could be a little more complicated. Also, Fitz appears to be in a relationship with Ada, who in this universe is Madam Hydra. By the way, Madam Hydra is finally a thing. This was obviously taking a lot of ideas from the What If comic series, at least in terms of concepts and stuff. Now, personally, I never got into the What If comics. My thinking was, it's really just glorified fan fiction with no basis in actual canon, so what's the point? But make it so it actually affects canon, and it's a whole different ballgame. And fan fiction is right, because this is basically like Ada is one of those anti-Fitzsimmons people on Tumblr who's living out her own self-insert AU fanfic in the fucking Matrix. So, as you can imagine, a world dreamed up by one of those people is every bit as twisted as you might think. Hydra is the ruling law enforcement agency. S.H.I.E.L.D. is an underground resistance movement being defamed as a terrorist organization. And some very, shall we say, timely social commentary with genetic profiling on Inhumans. Clever. Wonder what that was getting influence from. So, yeah, this was definitely one of the creepier episodes this show has done in a while. Daisy wakes up, and the first thing she sees is Grant Ward in her bed. Simmons wakes up and has to dig her way out of a mass grave, and that was just the first couple minutes. Honestly, I could recommend this episode just for the sheer WTF-ness of everything that's going on. May is Fitz's underling. Fitz is some cold-blooded asshole torturing Nadir's brother. What's his name? VJ, I think his name is. Ward is a double agent working for the good guys this time. Coulson as a teacher, but he's secretly keeping a file documenting on how he's going crazy like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. By the time you get to Fitz kissing Madam Hydra, who, until we get a name, I'm going to call Octopussy, after the Hydra octopus, You've really gone on a fucking roller coaster. I love how this episode just relishes in subverting the audience's every expectation. They tease that Ward is just like the old Ward, but he turns out to be a good guy. May saving the little girl in Bahrain caused even worse things to happen. And of course, the Inhumans. It's kind of like what the world would be like for the Jews if the Nazis took over. And it was no coincidence that they weren't shy about referencing the Hydra-Nazi connection either. Not exactly subtle, but I think the time for subtlety is past. You know, the sheer novelty of all the batshit crazy stuff going on here sells this episode, but they're not relying on just that. They did something really smart here, which was not just have this be some random parallel universe type of story where things are different just for the sake of being different. No, everything that's different here is motivated by something, or is the payoff to story threads that were introduced throughout the season. You know, nothing that you're seeing here is done without some kind of purpose or reason behind it, and in that capacity, it's probably one of the more deceptively smart episodes this show has done. And speaking of smart, I was so happy to see that Daisy and Gemma went into the framework with an actual plan. They have a meeting place, they have an exit strategy. It doesn't work because Ada's onto them and was probably expecting them to try to hack in, but at least they took steps to ensure that they wouldn't be walking around in the dark without a flashlight. You know, they were smart. The only reason their plan didn't work is because the villain was being smart too. That's the kind of writing I like. That's why you advance the story without anyone being stupid. There was one point, though, where I really wanted to smack some sense into Daisy. Where she's trying to help Nadir's brother escape from Hydra, basically blowing her own cover in the process. Seriously, why bother? She knows this guy isn't real. He's a creation of the framework. He's just a bunch of ones and zeros in a human shape. Forget this guy and maintain your cover, dummy. Okay, yeah, Daisy has a habit of being a little too self-righteous for her own good sometimes, but that was pushing it. That was the one moment where I was like, Daisy, you're smarter than this. Stop doing that. Now, about the Fitz thing. He and Ada / Madam Hydra / Octopussy are in some kind of relationship. Presumably because Fitz's memories have been altered because so that he never met Simmons. Doesn't remember ever knowing her. And I was rubbing my hands together in fiendish glee when they revealed that Ada or Octopussy is hiding Simmons' existence in the framework from him. And I'm not gonna lie, I like this development a lot. Now, I'm as big a Fitzsimmons shipper as you're likely to meet, but I think this is something they kind of had to go through at some point, especially after the space asshole debacle last season. And make no mistake, I hated that development. Both in concept and because the story was just really ill-conceived from the get-go, and you could tell. But now they've got Fitzsimmons in this really unbalanced relationship where Gemma has had a lot of guys interested in her over the course of the series and before the series, has been allowed to have previous relationships, has been allowed to have other people attracted to her to show interest in her, whereas Fitz has not. Has never even been allowed to have another person show interest in him romantically at all. So sooner or later, they really did need to have Simmons walk a mile in Fitz's shoes. Have her see him with someone else to know what that feels like. Just as Fitz has had to do. Now, of course, these two are so close that pretty much the only way Fitz would ever be with another woman would be in an alternate reality like this, where he never knew Simmons, apparently. So it makes sense the way it's being done. They didn't have to ham-fist it into existence like they did with the space asshole thing. Now, you could argue, and it was also set up previously in the series, there were hints of that this was on the way, so I think this time it works a lot better. And now you could argue that the way Ada created this relationship makes it extremely creepy and more than a touch rapey, but I'll take it. Yeah, I really can't wait to see how Simmons reacts to it too. I mean, she had to put Fitz through all that bullshit last season with Space Asshole, and now it's her turn to have her emotions chewed up and spit out by the person that she loves. It's only fair. It's only fair. So now they're trapped in the framework with no way out. The only possible way they can escape, I assume, is by getting to Fitz and Octopussy. And I have no idea how they're going to do that. So, great episode here. This was worth the wait. Lots of twists and turns, several genuinely creepy moments, and I really like the aesthetics too. All the color was desaturated, making everything look really cold and foreboding. It's a nice touch. And really nice to see Brett Dalton again. I didn't miss Grant Ward pointing guns at people I like, but Brett Dalton is welcome anytime they want to use him, so that was cool. So I really enjoyed this one. Pod 3 of Season 4 is off to a great start. Can't wait for the next one. Okay. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doing Flashpoint storyline better than the Flash did Flashpoint. I know, right? Like with Flashpoint, the biggest cliffhanger they could come up with is, oh no, Iris and Joe are having an argument. Really? That's it? That was it? That was the best they could come up with. Yeah, so score 1 for S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of a similar concept, but I think S.H.I.E.L.D. did it better. This is an actual thing in the comics, a whole world which is purely digital, but I forgot what it was called now. All right. I hope they don't keep the show in the framework too long. There are only 6 episodes left in the season, and a lot of loose ends to tie up. Plus, if they don't get her out of there soon, May is going to be dead. Yeah, I think that may be something they play around with. I was kind of expecting May to get killed off last season, and I've said this before, but if the series goes in the direction I think it's going, then at some point May's got to go. And the reason I thought she might be the one to die last season is because by that point her character had kind of been explained. There wasn't really any aspects of it that they had left to explore except for the Felinda thing, which they're exploring now. So once that's been done, they're kind of done with May. So if there's a big death this season, and if history is any indication, there probably will be. Odds I don't. Smart money is on May, I think. Well, her and Mace. Mace ain't getting out of this season alive. No way. Yeah, I don't think the odds are not in May's favor. I think this may be where we say goodbye to her. I'm sure Bakshi is part of the resistance since Whitehall was never freed from jail in the 1980s, so they never met. Maybe. Would be nice to see him again. I forgot the actor's name, but he was a cool character. I liked him. It was cool seeing Ward in the hero role for once since early season 1, even though it wasn't reality. Yeah, because since it's not reality, they can do weird outside the box stuff like that, and it's they're showing, yeah, if events had turned out differently, your lives could be so drastically different. So Ward is a good guy. Doesn't really take that much finessing to convince me it could turn out that way, because that guy did have a pretty nightmarish home life. So if you change that, he could be a very different person. Like with Fitz, apparently his dad stuck around. His dad didn't abandon him, and he never met Simmons. So if you take away Simmons and you add in an emotionally abusive father, he turns into a cold-blooded asshole. Not hard to imagine. Same thing with May. Same thing with a lot of characters. Where was I? I guess this is why to give the Stand With Ward fans a way for him to be redeemed without actually being redeemed. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I hadn't even thought of that. The Stand With Ward people. I'd stopped. I thought we'd finally put that to bed. Damn it. The Ward stands are going to come out of the woodwork now again, aren't they? Shit. Do I even want to go look in the Grant Ward tag on Tumblr to see what they're up to? I don't think so. Because if I see that, I'm going to feel the need to respond to it. And if that happens, it's just going to be this big argument, and they'll probably accuse me of being a racist again, even though we're talking about a white person. I don't need that headache. I had no idea she was Madame Hydra until you said so online, and I've been reading the comics since I was 4. Well, it was a kind of a subtle moment. They didn't actually say Madame Hydra. They said Fitz just said Madam, and if she's the lead of Hydra, 1 plus 1 equals 2. You can connect the dots on that. Trip could be alive as well, and I heard Nick Blood was seen on the set filming a couple days ago. Really? Oh, I'd love to see Hunter again. I miss Hunter. This show misses Hunter. He was such a great source of humor. He was so funny. I miss Hunter a lot. Bobby, too. It'd be awesome if they could get Bobby back for an episode or 2. Trip, I don't really... It's like, whatever. I don't really care about him. The character never did anything. I don't understand why people liked him so much. He's just... Why? He did nothing. But yeah, I mean, just people on Tumblr, again, they just, to this day, they're like hashtagging Trip Lives and shit like that. It's like, guys, just get the fuck over it already. I guess Trip could show up in the framework, perhaps, if they could get, BJ Britt was available. Of course, his lack of availability is probably one of the reasons they killed him off to begin with. So who knows? Although I kind of hope we don't see Trip, because if we do, the fangirls on Tumblr just will not shut up. I don't know why I'm talking about Tumblr so much this week. Personally, I'm not that offended by the genetic profiling, but then I'm kind of scared of mutants, Inhumans in general, so I guess I'd join Hydra. Alright, we're going to get into this again. I guess the genetic profiling, in theory, does make sense, because if you got these people with abilities that they might not necessarily be able to control, those people do need to be kept track of. Because, like, imagine if you're a parent, and your kid is in a class with another kid who is an Inhuman, and imagine if that Inhuman's power is to fart cyanide gas. So, if they squeeze one out, the whole classroom is dead. So, yeah, I mean, people with, Inhumans with dangerous abilities would need to be monitored and policed to a certain point. But when you start infringing on people's civil liberties, and torturing them, that's when it's going too far. So yeah, there do need to be systems. There would need to be systems in place to keep these people in check and kind of keep track of them, because they are dangerous people. But systems like that can be very easily abused, and that's what they're commenting on here. That's what we're seeing here, because look what they did to VJ Nadir. They're basically torturing the guy, and he hasn't even gone through Terrigenesis. So, they're taking it to an extreme level. Isn't Madame Hydra, aka Viper, supposed to be an X-Men villain? Apparently not. I guess since she's related to Hydra, she doesn't really fall under the X canon, even though the X-Men have had confrontations with Madame Hydra in the past. I don't know, I guess that one's kind of a gray area. It did look like Gemma came up from a different grave than the one they showed in the last episode. That was a different grave, yeah. I think what they're going for is, what they're probably going to reveal, this is not a spoiler, it's just me speculating, is that I think Hydra probably faked a lot of those deaths. I think it was when Daisy looked up Gemma, there was an obituary or something where they said like 200 SHIELD Academy SHIELD cadets died in like an explosion or something, and then Gemma wakes up in a mass grave, like out in the woods or something, instead of her burial site with the gravestone and everything. She wakes up in a different place, so I'm thinking Hydra probably caused that explosion and faked those, and then disposed of the bodies somewhere else, and that's what we're seeing. And a good thing they did, because if Gemma had to punch her way out of a coffin instead of like a foot or two of dirt, I wouldn't have liked her odds. And she has turned into kind of a badass, but still, I don't know if she's quite on Beatrix Kiddo's level. Where the hell was I? It did look like Gemma... no, wait, no. Is it just me, or was Elizabeth Henstridge sick this week because her voice was way off? She may have been. I think she was just acting that as a way to sell the fact that she had to dig her way out of the earth. If I had to dig my way out of a grave and probably swallowed more than a little dirt, my voice would kind of sound like shit too. I mean, it kind of sounds like shit in general these days, but more so. I think it was probably just an acting choice on her part. That BS about Hydra are all Nazis is nonsense. The Hydra organization started in ancient times when a group of humans met an alien that looked like the Hydra symbol, whose name escapes me, Hive. If memory serves, it was the thing that took over Ward's body for a while last season. Yeah, but not many people know about that. Hydra is most commonly known as the organization associated with the Nazis. They were the Nazi science division. That's what the general public knows them to be. That's, as far as the general public is concerned, that's where Hydra began. Yeah, it wasn't their official origins on the show, but not many people know about that. So, and honestly, them being a Nazi organization is just an easier sell than saying, oh, they started as a group of people who worshipped an inhuman that looked like an octopus because aliens tampered with human genetics. The Nazi thing is just easier. I wonder what happened to the Avengers and all the other powered heroes in the framework. Maybe they'll talk about it a little. Possibly. They might not even exist. Not sure why Ada would program them in there, to be honest with you. Because it doesn't really help her at all. It'll probably make things harder, more difficult for her to keep things under control, but we'll see. Hey, Skyward is back, bitches. Okay. Have your fun with it. Let's see. To be a little negative, I don't like Evil Fitz. I don't think Ian DeCastiger plays the role well so far. Okay. Alright, differing opinion here. I love the Evil Fitz. More specifically, I give zero about Fitzsimmons, and he does a great job as a villain. Maybe it'll be a permanent holdover. Okay. I like Evil. I'm enjoying what they're doing with Evil Fitz so far. Not sure what to make of the performance yet, but we only got like a couple scenes with him. They weren't really long or anything. And DeCastiger has always delivered in the acting department. In the past 4 seasons, he's one of the acting MVPs of the show. So I tend to think he'll make this work. So jury's out, but I expect Evil Fitz is going to turn out to be really cool. I'm guessing Mace is Captain America of this universe, judging by the preview. You might be right. I'd like to imagine this is the real world and that what they thought was the real world was the Matrix thing. Okay. Okay. There's one plot hole, too, in the framework. If May didn't kill the girl, then how come she didn't recognize Coulson when his picture was brought up to Fitz when Coulson calls in? He was in Bahrain. Actually, no. No. Previously, a couple episodes ago, they showed May in the framework. They showed her in Bahrain saying that after she had saved a girl. And she's calling Andrew. She's on the phone. She's sitting outside the ambulance. She's on the phone. She's calling Andrew to say, I did it. I saved the girl. Coulson's not there. Now, it was a quick scene, but Coulson he wasn't there. So Ada changed the Bahrain incident so that May saved the girl, but she removed Coulson from that situation, I think. So yeah, almost a plot hole, but no, Coulson he wasn't. Apparently, as far as May was concerned, Coulson was not in the Bahrain. Is not in Bahrain, and she probably never met the guy. I want Simmons to be the big death. Frankly, I'm tired of her and Fitz. I'm sorry, I am. Well, okay. Agree to disagree on that. I love Simmons and Fitz, and I highly doubt. I highly doubt you're going to get your way on that one. But to each their own. If they kill May, then Mace is probably safe. They show like 6 members on the team. Yeah, maybe. But don't they still have 6? Coulson, Daisy, May, Mac, Fitz, Simmons. Oh yeah. I guess Yo-Yo too. Yo-Yo would make it 7. Yeah, so I don't know. No, I wouldn't put it past him to kill both of them, honestly. I'm sure Ward's going to find a way to get out of the framework and get a new body. Well, they would need to have an LMD that looks like Ward, and I don't know why Ada would build one of those, but I guess it's possible. In retrospect, she was Madame Hydra, dressed like identical to the comic one, including the slightly green hair. Okay. Madame Hydra was married to Wolverine for a while, yeah, so she is really hot, so why not? Yeah, she was married to Wolverine. I guess they decided that she was more closely associated with Hydra and the Shield comics rather than the X-Men. So who knows? My problem with Inhumans is that we're approaching the evolutionary red line here. They're superior to humans. There's no way to outlast them other than to take them down militarily. Survival of the fittest benefits people who can cause earthquakes at will or teleport or explode and come back together. Okay, you're talking about starting a war against a lot of people who have not done anything wrong. I would hazard a guess that most Inhumans probably just want to be left alone and are generally good people. Now, you're going to have bad eggs in every bunch, but if you're talking about eliminating the many because of the actions of a few, that's not good. That's a slippery slope there. That's dangerous thinking. So yeah, not really on board with you there. I would actually be okay if they killed off Mace and May, only if they brought back Bobby and Hunter. So would I, actually. I'd take Bobby and Hunter back in a heartbeat. Probably not going to happen. I know. What is her name? Adrienne Palicki. I think she was cast on a new show, so she's probably not available. I haven't heard about Nick Blood at all. But yeah, even if it was just Hunter, I'd love to have Hunter back. He was awesome. Yeah, the reason May didn't recognize Coulson is because he never joined S.H.I.E.L.D. to begin with. Yeah, there you go. He wasn't in Bahrain. He never joined S.H.I.E.L.D. It makes sense. There's no plot hole there. Because this show actually respects its continuity. No retcons necessary. I'm certain that Ward is going to get out of the Matrix and probably be a good guy now since he's on the computer. Since he's in the computer. It's possible, but I don't see how it could happen unless Ada had reason to build a Ward LMD. And I don't see why she would, unless there's some kind of twist coming. Wars are fought between nations, conflicts between species. It's called survival. Um, Maybe before the dawn of civilized society. But again, you're talking about starting a war where a war is not necessary. Would the people like this need to be monitored? Yes, but wiping them all out when most of them haven't done anything wrong, that's just fucking murder. Damn it, I know Max Arc is gonna get me to shed a tear, man, like that episode of Justice League where Superman was in a dream and he had a son. Oh yeah. We haven't seen Mac yet, but damn, that is gonna be brutal when he finds out that his daughter being alive is just a digital construct, and she's still dead. He's gonna have to lose his daughter all over again. That's gonna be rough. Okay. All right. Thoughts on WrestleMania 33? Okay. I don't really have that many. I haven't seen the whole show because I didn't really have much interest in a lot of the card. I saw parts of it. The hell can I say? Brock and Goldberg was, I think, probably what it needed to be. I think we all pretty much knew what to expect. I don't think anyone really expected that one to go too long. And Raven Effect's gonna hate me for this, but I watched it, and I was mostly satisfied. I kind of knew what I was getting there. You know, it's not a match where you go in thinking, oh, they're going to do a lot of chain wrestling and psychology and stuff. No, they just went right to the power moves and the big spots and stuff. And it didn't go too long. And, you know, not every match needs to go that long, especially on a show like this, which is like fucking 7 hours. So they got right to the big stuff. It was short and sweet. They got in, got out at the right time. I was okay with it. I was fine. Because, you know, if it went longer, Goldberg probably would have gassed out pretty quickly. So, whatever. You know, I was fine with that. God, what the hell else? Oh, Christ. Roman Reigns and Undertaker. That was not good. Taker's probably regretting his decision to keep going after the end of an era match and after the Lesnar match. And, Jesus. It kind of sucks because Taker now has to go out as a living example of what happens when veterans try to hang on too long and try to keep wrestling when they probably shouldn't. Because wow, that was an ugly match. It was kind of sad to watch. I've long since emotionally divorced myself from the Undertaker, and I stopped caring about the streak years ago. And basically, I'd kind of gotten impatient with Undertaker. Really, just wanted him to ride off into the sunset and stop taking away spots from other people who I thought should be on the card instead. So the fact that he was still around was kind of, I don't know. I just kind of shrugged at that. I see what they're going for. Okay, you've got the two guys who beat WrestleMania. Beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now they're going to have this confrontation probably at next WrestleMania to decide who the new it guy is and whatever. I see the story. But, man, they should probably just give up on Roman Reigns ever being a cheerable babyface at this point, because that ain't happening. The guy's just so unlikable, so he's... For some reason, they just don't want to turn him a heel officially. I don't get it. Yeah, what else? The hell else? I actually didn't really care about a lot of the card. Oh, Rollins Triple H was kind of stupid. Rollins is supposed to be so injured on have this knee, his like a knee injury that's so bad that they won't clear him to wrestle, so he has to get unsanctioned status. Even though they're still using their music and they're still using a WWE official and they're still doing everything they would normally do in a regular match, even though it's unsanctioned. And and then Rollins is still doing all the flashy kicks and high spots and stuff, even though he's supposed to have a bad leg. It's like psychology was so messed up, so lame. It was cool to see Stephanie go through a table. Of course, it had to be Triple H that knocked her into it. So I guess we can count that one as one for Rollins, but would be nice if Rollins just kicked Stephanie. Of course, that wasn't going to happen. I don't know. So overall, I wasn't really digging it that much. Although, props to Shane McMahon. I couldn't believe it when he did that shooting star press. Jesus H. Christ, that's like a 49-year-old man or something. I don't know how the hell he does that at his age. The guy isn't human. But yeah, don't really have a whole lot to say about it. Okay. What? Pretty sure May is going to stay in the framework because her physical body is dying and live a long life with Andrew. They said she was in there for weeks. I guess it's that may be something they play around with. Let's see. What did you think of Ghost in the Shell? Okay, Ghost in the Shell. I liked it. Now, a lot's been said about the whitewashing controversy, and to an extent, I agree with that. I wish it was an Asian actress playing the Major. I really do. But at the end of the day, they went with Scarlett Johansson. They thought she was a safer bet. I can't change that. All I can say is whether or not she was good in the role. And you know what? She was. I thought she did a good job as the Major. At least there was some kind of an explanation for why she's Caucasian instead of an Asian person. It doesn't change anything, but at least there was some kind of explanation for it, I guess. But yeah, stunning visuals. Good Lord. I was actually tempted to see it in 3D. I didn't, of course, because fuck 3D, but I was tempted for a minute. Because it is a fucking beautiful movie. The cinematography was just, mwah. Holy fuck. I mean, that really does look like the original anime movie brought to life. I mean, just the aesthetics alone were fucking beautiful. It was slow paced. The story was, yeah, but have you seen the original? The first two, I love Ghost in the Shell, but you know what? First two times I tried to watch the movie, I fell asleep. Because I was a kid, I was like too young to really appreciate everything that was going on, and it is a very slow-paced movie. Right now, I love the damn thing, but hey, it's slow-paced, and they're trying to do a lot of like a commentary and like introspection and whatever, which this movie tried to replicate a little bit. I could have done with a little bit more action, but overall, I did enjoy the movie a lot. Yeah, the whitewashing thing is a criticism, and yeah, it's like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just something that I had to deal with. But Scarlett Johansson doesn't do a bad job, and it kind of sucks that the movie apparently is tanking. So that's unfortunate. I was really hoping it would succeed because if it did, it would hopefully like open up some doors for future live action anime adaptations. And I want to see a Bubblegum Crisis movie someday. God damn it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie for the most part. There were some scenes that were lifted that looked like they were lifted right out of the anime. Like almost as if they used the original anime for like storyboards and stuff. It was that close. Like the scene in the watery alley and the scene with the spider tank and stuff. It was really faithful. This was not like some like lame ass cash in where they're doing it just to make a quick buck. No, this was obviously made by people who had a genuine love for the source material, and Maybe there were a few things that weren't as good as they could have been or should have been, but overall, this could have been so much worse. So much worse. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. This is the short version. Thoughts on the Angle, Enzo, and Cass segment? Uh, I thought Angle was funny when he says that's not how you spell soft. I mean, seriously. I mean, Cass, get a fucking spell check already. Isn't war, it's survival of the fittest. There's no need for survival of the fittest. We're in a civilized society, and you're talking about wiping out a group of people who haven't done anything wrong. That's very dangerous thinking. You're gonna get AJ Lee's new book? I might flip through it. Why does it know why ROH won't work with TNA? There's bad blood there dating back years. ROH Rob Feinstein incident, if not for Kerry Silkin's faith in the company that would have died in 04. Okay, bad blood going back years. All right, well, I don't see why they can't put that bad blood behind them in the interest of making money. Because when there's money to be made, it's like, geez, get over it and be adult about this. There's no reason why the companies can't work together in some capacity. Maybe letting old grudges get in the way of doing business and making money, that's just fucking childish. If you read the article on No DQ about JBL's bullying Morrison and Miz, Justin Roberts has a new book about it. No, I haven't seen that. Doesn't surprise me, though. It doesn't help that TNA wanted to prevent ROH pay-per-view from using the Hardys that the Dish Network dropped under threats from Anthem. Well, the broken gimmick did appear on TNA's programming, so there is an argument to be made that it was TNA / Impact's intellectual property. I think Impact kind of had a case. If they didn't want that gimmick being used on other companies, i.e. WWE programming. And I guess it's important to make a distinction. This wasn't Impact / TNA doing this. This was Anthem. It was Anthem doing this, because a lot of people forget that. Give us your in-depth thoughts on Roman Reigns and how WWE is using him. Okay. All right, well, in a way, I kind of feel bad for him. Sort of. He's not an untalented guy. I just think he's being completely misused. They have it dead set in their minds that he's going to be their new John Cena. He's going to be their new top babyface. Problem is, he's not a likable person. He's not a likable character. He comes off like a smug prick. Now, if he was a heel, there'd be no problem. But they keep presenting him as a good guy, and no one's buying it. It just comes off like bullshit. I mean, it's not a case of him being a bad performer. It's a case of them just using him completely wrong. But you know, the guy, he works hard. He has good matches. Promos have gotten better. I don't think he'll ever be a virtuoso on the microphone, but the guy can talk reasonably well at this point. So like I said, he's not a bad performer. It's just the writing is fucking him up, and that's why people won't accept him. Most of the problems with him would be solved if they just turn him heel, but they're fucking stubborn at this point. And by now, I think they're largely keeping him babyface out of spite, because Vince just wants to give a big F you to the fans for not accepting him as a babyface in the first place. Thoughts on Davey versus Eddie match? Why did the referee get... why can't the referee ban Angelina from ringside? Because it's last man standing, and I guess it's which technically means it's a no DQ match, so they can't really ban her from ringside. What's she gonna do? Get somebody DQ'd in a match that's no DQ? There's no reason to ban her from ringside. Now, Alicia getting involved was awkward because why didn't security remove her? Kayfabe wise, she is not a member of the roster. So you got a fan in the stands jumping the rail and attacking a member of the roster, and security doesn't come out to stop her. It's weird. Didn't really make sense. Ghost in the Shell is getting the Iron Fist treatment from critics, but I really loved it. But I never saw the original, so I don't know how it compares. Your thoughts on the... Oh, this is something else. Yeah, well, Iron Fist got so much shit, too. That was really unfair. People calling, racism because Marvel cast a white actor to play a white character. Whole thing completely blown out of proportion. At least with Ghost in the Shell, I could understand it, because this is a traditionally Asian character being played by a white actor. Oh, then, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm not going to jump on board with this because I wanted the movie to succeed, and it really wasn't a big deal to me either way. But at least the furor about Ghost in the Shell I understood. I still really enjoyed the movie though. Never saw the original, so I don't know how it compares. Oh, you should see the original. It's good. It's really good. And I definitely paid homage to the original film in a lot of ways. Like I said, certain sequences look like they were lifted right out of the anime. Thoughts on the It trailer? And did you enjoy the first movie? Actually, I never saw the first movie. I've seen parts of it. Never saw the whole thing. We'll see. I'd like to see more before I make a decision on it. It looks good. I think probably an over-reliance on jump scares. As I understand it, there was a script written by the guy who made True Detective Season 1 that was a lot more psychological. That sounds like it probably would have been a better movie. Because jump scares, to me, they don't work. Of course, I don't really scare easily with movies anymore. So if you want to just load up your movie with jump scares, that's not gonna help your case. But we'll see. It looks like it's well filmed. Clowns kind of creep me out, so not the worst trailer I've ever seen. Let's see more. I like Scarlett Johansson in the film, but to be fair, she is my kryptonite. I love her in pretty much everything she's in. Okay. Thoughts on what happened to DJZ? Apparently he got injured in a match and fractured his colon. I didn't know a colon could be fractured, but he was apparently he came really close to never being able to wrestle again. But it sounds like it's going to be okay. So, just well wishes sent out to DJZ. He had a scare, but it sounds like he's going to be all right. So good. Would have really sucked for him if he had to carry around a colonoscopy bag forever, because there was a danger of that happening apparently. But no, he's going to be all right. So he dodged a bullet. I'm happy. I'm happy for that. Ghost in the Shell was okay. It nailed several scenes directly from the anime, but I feel like they changed the story to a bizarre degree and almost just to explain that Scarlet is the Major. Yeah, that I did notice that. It's like that was a big thing in the movie. Like this huge. It's almost like the main plot of the movie is just to explain why the Major is a white woman. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but she's trying to find out who she is, and the person that she is not the person she was, and I'm trying not to be spoilery or anything, but yeah, that's basically the plot of the movie is her finding out who she is and the life that she used to have. And so they base the whole plot of the movie on why an Asian character is played by a white actress. Oh, man. Some say it's racist. It's not. It's smart. If I was going to kidnap runaways and try to put their minds in android bodies and not want them to remember who they are, I would change their ethnicity too. It's smart on the villain's part in the movie. Yeah. But it's not really necessary because if you would cast an Asian actress, you could do something that's a little closer to the anime, and you wouldn't have had to deal to even do that whole plot at all. So I do understand why people are angry about it in this case. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I'm just one person. So when they look in there, there's not a chance of them remembering their past. Let's see. My complaint is Angelina is the reason why Davy became an asshole. She killed the wolves all because of jealousy. I hope Alicia beat the Botox out of her fake ass. Yeah, that appears to be the situation. Angelina is kind of the one pushing Davy and Eddie apart because she's a heel, and that's what heels do. Kind of wonder what Angelina's motivation is for that. But I guess she's the reason for the heel turn there. Yeah. Ghost in the Shell has made $73.7 million worldwide so far. It's going to be interesting to see what Japan and China can make it a hit. If China can get a hit this weekend. Yeah. China's one of the biggest markets, and I've seen a lot of interviews from people in Japan that said they were fine with Scarlett Johansson playing the Major. They didn't have a problem with it. So it appears that most people who are angry about that are white people in America, which is a little strange. But yeah, I mean, if the Asian people, in large part, don't have a problem with it, then the movie should play well in Asian markets. So we'll see. At the rate it's going, it's probably not going to be a huge hit. I mean, it might end up making its money back. It might make a modest profit, but it's going to be an uphill battle at this point, which is kind of a shame because it is a well-made flick. Like I said, it's fucking beautiful to look at, too. Yeah, Jeff Hardy's travel ban in the United Kingdom has expired. Yeah, just in time, too. What do you think of Marvel doing a Squirrel Girl and New Warriors TV show? It sounds like they're making it a comedy. And it's going to have little or no resemblance to the New Warriors comics. And that's a sore spot for me, because I freaking love the original run of the New Warriors in the 1990s. That was one of my favorite books. And it sounds like they're just throwing that out, and they're going to make the whole thing a comedy about characters with like really stupid or weird powers. They said it's going to be like the opposite of the event. They're going to have the opposite of Avengers powers. So it's probably just going to be this group of weirdos and misfits, and that's not what the New Warriors were about. Why not just call it something else if you're going to take that approach? I think it's dumb. If they were going to do a New Warriors project, I want to see the real New Warriors. I want to see like Speedball and Nova and Firestar and Marvel Boy, now Justice, and all those characters. And I want to see like the real team, not this lame ass version that they're doing here. I think it's stupid. It was a dick move that Anthem threatened Dish Network to not carry the pay-per-view. It was just business, man. This is what you do in business. If you think another company is going to use your intellectual property, then you make noise about it. You get them to stop. Dick move, maybe, but that's how business fucking works. Complain all you want about me. I'm both WWE and Impact fan. Okay, nothing wrong with that. That and because Roman is selling the most merch as a full-time guy, but WWE shop does not support those claims on their bestsellers list. Not surprised. That always sounded really funky to me. Roman Reigns sells the most merch out of all the full timers. Really? Roman Reigns does? That always sounded weird to me. I never really bought that. That is according to why they're pushing Roman this thing. Yeah, yeah. Who would you cast as Squirrel Girl? My picks would be Rowan Blanchard from Girl Meets World or Auli'i Cravlaho from or Ariel Winter from Modern Family. Anna Kendrick. That's Squirrel Girl. How did I forget about the rules of last man standing matches? My bad. I just hate Angelina turning Davey into her puppet bitch. Okay. And opinions may vary on the women being involved. I don't think it's really necessary, but at least it's adding something to this feud that we haven't seen before. Reigns isn't selling t-shirts as much. He's selling toys and action figures, although I still can't believe he's the top seller. I really wonder about that myself. I kind of suspect they're not being entirely honest about that. So you might have to put a little asterisk next to that factoid. The original Transformers and Transformers Armada were so damn good I could never see myself watching the new Transformers series these days. Okay, that's out of left field. Watch Transformers Prime if you haven't seen it, dude. And if you're a Transformers fan, you owe it to yourself to watch Transformers Prime. I think that's one of the best things the franchise ever did. That show is so damn good. Sanjay, that's a producer now? Yeah. Speaking of Mac, I just watched a new sneak peek a few minutes ago. His daughter is spot on perfect for him, and damn, it's going to be hard. It's going to make it hard. Oh, haven't seen the new sneak peek yet. Yeah, that's probably going to be a tearjerker when he has to accept that she's not real. That's going to be rough. According to AJ Lee, her feud with Caitlyn was all done by themselves without WWE's help. Huh. No fooling. Cool. Power Rangers Turbo was pretty cool. Oh, well, see, right, you lost me already. Because of the Megazord, the Blue Ranger was an interesting choice in having a kid, and plus it's part of my childhood. No, I disagree. Turbo was ass. Having the new Blue Ranger be a kid was idiotic. Okay, so these monsters can be beaten up by an unmorphed 12-year-old. How does that make these bad guys effective or dangerous looking in any way? No, it makes them look ridiculous. No. Turbo was stupid. It was bad. It was just plain bad. That is the series that drove me away from the franchise for a long time. Thoughts on the Hall of Fame? I didn't watch it. Thoughts on Marvel Damage Control TV show? I don't really have any. I don't know much about the project. Really. Roman is reported to not go to SmackDown, even though AJ is going to Raw. New Days. All right. I guess bipolar for what I saw on TV, especially when it comes to pro wrestling. A lot of people are, dude. Impact needs someone to hire better knockouts. You're not entirely wrong. It's been confirmed that Diamante has been signed, and I think that signing is very good. Watched a little bit of her stuff online. She's talented. I like her a lot. I was under the impression that a lot of the girls that we saw this week and last week are not full-time hires. They're just there like for like a certain number of dates to introduce them before they do Knockouts Knockdown, I guess. So I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of them, showing up every week. Might see them here and there, but for the most part, they're probably only there for this set of tapings. I believe Alexis Nevaeh has been signed. I really don't know a whole lot about her, but whatever. But yeah, they brought back ODB, which not happy about that. I don't know if Rebel is back full time or not. But yeah, overall, could they go after better women? Yeah. It still just drives me fucking nuts that they let Kaylee Ray slip through their fingers. Oh, dear God, it still bothers me. And, there's a lot of women out there where you could look at them as like, why the fuck is that person not signed somewhere? Jennifer Blake had a tryout years ago, and she never got signed. Like, why the fuck not? She's great. She's one of those girls who's like as pre-packaged as he gets. I mean, she's got TV experience. She worked in AAA for years, and she's. I think she's available now. Why wouldn't you go after Jen Blake? Shauna, same thing. So yeah, and here we get Casey Quinn, Amanda Rodriguez. I don't know who these people are. He's going after these people who haven't even made any kind of name for themselves yet, and it's like maybe there's a reason for that, They did a good job bringing in girls that have a little bit of a following when they brought in Courtney Rush and Cherry Bomb. Those were good. Those were good choices. Those have been big breakout characters. But I mean, this new crop of girls that they brought in recently, I don't get it. They're basing the claim with Roman being number one on all the full-timers because of the Google shopping results stats. All right. Anna Kendrick, a squirrel girl, would be awesome. Beast Wars is the best Transformers, period, but Prime is still up there pretty high. The movies are great, though. The 80s cartoons are terrible. Okay. I've seen very little of Beast Wars. The CG animation has not aged well. I understand the writing got very good towards in the latter episodes. So, I do watch SF Debris reviews every day. When he's got a few Beast Wars reviews up there. I watch those. I might check the show out at some point. I still think it doesn't get better than Transformers Prime though. The movies, yeah, I'm not a fan of the movies. It kind of felt like they were trying in the first one, but by the time the second one came around, I was like, wow, this is not going in a positive direction. And then the third one was fucking terrible. And then after that, I just gave up. Did you hear Taylor Hendricks left ROH? Yeah. I kind of suspect she might be gunning for a spot in WWE's women's tournament. And you think Jade and Taylor may be involved in the women's tourney? They're probably looking for spots in there. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. Turbo was like the worst Power Rangers series. Indeed, it was the only really shitty one. Out of the originals, the new ones are frankly pretty crap. It should have ended with RPM. I don't think it was the only really shitty one. By all accounts, Operation Overdrive was pretty crap. Of course, I haven't seen a lot of the later seasons. After watching Linkara's History of Power Rangers RPM installment, I watched all of RPM. Loved RPM. That's become my favorite series of Power Rangers. But yeah, from what I've seen, the most recent series are really, really kidified. I mean, it was always kidified to a certain extent, but at least early on, it was kind of It was kind of an all ages type of show, obviously skewing towards younger viewers, but it was there. I think there was something there that everybody could enjoy. Now it's just a show for kids, and I've seen bits and pieces of Samurai and Dino Charge, and I'm not a fan of the direction they're going in, and it's stupid because they've got the movie coming out. It's out now. It's actually a pretty good movie. And they knew it was going to be a more mature, modernized take on Power Rangers. And they knew it was going to be PG-13. So why in the world would you choose the latest installment, Ninja Steel, to be another super kidified incarnation? Why not just do another slightly more mature take like an RPM so you can cross-promote with the movie? Because you've got people going to see this movie who maybe have never seen the show before, who might want to check it out because they like the movie, and then they turn into Ninja Steel, and they're like, what the fuck is this kiddie bullshit? I'm not saying you have to go super dark with it, but, RPM wasn't super dark. It was still technically a kids show, I guess, but there was stuff for more mature audiences to enjoy as well. That was an all ages show. So to choose this time to kidify it as probably like the most it's ever been kiddified in the entire franchise history is just fucking stupid. I don't know what they're thinking with that. Damage control is Marvel's answer to DC's Powerless. Does Powerless need an answer to it? From what I've heard, Powerless is pretty bad. Do you think TNA would go after Taylor Hendricks and do things right this time around? Possibly. I think Taylor could easily be the new Maria. I mean, she's charismatic enough. Her mic skills are good enough. She could do it. They better sign MJ Jenkins because a lot of people at the Asylum discussion board say a lot of good things about her. I'd need to see more of MJ before I make a decision on that. We didn't really have a good introduction to her in the match we saw tonight. She hit like one nice springboard move and then just kind of faded into the crowd like everyone else did. Although in fairness, that match really wasn't a good showcase for anybody. The first half of Turbo was bad. The second half, once the new actors came in, got much better. My least favorite is Operation Overdrive, the most unlikable cast they ever had. All right, never saw Overdrive, and I quit Turbo pretty quickly. Once I saw that they added the kid, I was like, what the fuck is this? And Diva Tox was just so fucking lame. I watched maybe like one or two episodes and I was like, this is bad. This show has gotten terrible. I'm out. The Power Rangers movie was fun, but frankly, it kind of went with the plot too concisely without explaining it properly. Considering what it could have been, I was very satisfied with it overall. Again, that could have been so much worse. Barry Allen or Billy from Turbo? Billy was not in Turbo. No, he left during the Zeo. Do you mean the kid? I don't know. I didn't realize. I watched very little of Turbo, so I don't. Just the kid's very existence I thought was idiotic. But whatever. I don't know. He'd have to be really fucking bad to be worse than Barry. Impact needs to get their head out of their ass and sign some women in the indies that have an actual cult following. And yes, I want Shauna, Jen Blake, and Kaylee Ray on Impact too. Yeah, I don't know why they're going with these no-namers. I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is with that. Thoughts on World of Sports aligned with TNA? I think it's good. I think fuck WWE for starting their own like British weekly TV show, trying to monopolize all the talent because WWE is getting really serious about wanting that monopoly, and they're doing it. The timing is very suspect. It's like around the same time that World of Sports is starting up, and God forbid another organization gets started up. No, WWE want to be the only game in town, and that's very dangerous thinking. That's not good for the business because it's better for the business when there's lots of companies and lots of places for the wrestlers to work. So I'm appreciative of Impact for partnering with World of Sports. Here we have Impact making all these, forming all these agreements and alliances and partnerships with all these different companies, trying to get all these companies to help each other. And then here's WWE trying to put all the other companies out of business. But no, Impact Wrestling are the bad guys. I'm glad there's a partnership there. I hope World of Sports is a big success. Overdrive wasn't that bad. It was close to Turbo or nearly as childish as the new ones. It was like 5 out of 10. All right, well. Linkara seemed to think it was a lot worse than 5 out of 10, but okay. World of Sports coming back is the reason WWE had the UK tourney. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, all right. KM or CM? Who would you choose? KM or CM Punk, you mean? Uh, if CM Punk wanted to come back, which he doesn't, I guess CM Punk. I like KM just because he didn't take any shit from Karen Jarrett, but against CM Punk, come on, there's no contest. What do you expect when Nickelodeon got the rights to the Power Rangers franchise? I don't know. I thought they might make a decision that would make good business sense. Just because it's on Nickelodeon, which is the kid network, doesn't mean the show has to be so kidified that it bears no resemblance to the big movie coming out. I mean, Avatar: The Last Airbender aired on Nickelodeon, and that show wasn't kidified. That show was surprisingly mature at times. Legend of Korra, same thing. Just because it's on a network aimed at kids doesn't mean it can't be sophisticated and well written and have mature themes. Yeah, they've forgot that with Power Rangers. They just we want to simplify everything and make it for kids and have it so there's nothing for older audiences to enjoy at all, even though there was in earlier seasons. I think it's dumb, and they're just leaving money on the table because now, like I said, anyone who enjoyed the movie wants to check out the show, because they like the movie. They're going to watch Samurai or the Mega Force or Dino Charge or Ninja Steel, and they're like, why is this? This is fucking childish and stupid and everything. It didn't have to be that way. Yeah, Brandy Rhodes took a bump on thumbtacks in an indie match. Yeah, did she? Okay. Kind of just going around in circles here now, but Space comes in number 2, tied with Lost Galaxy is the best. Mighty Morphin will always be up there, tied with number 1, just because it's the first. Let's see. You and Brandy had a Twitter exchange. Yeah, I did a little bit. She had a really she had a little interesting tweet. She retweeted a GIF of her eliminating Diamante from the Gauntlet, and she says, "Well, hey, at least I got to do this before that thing, Madison Rayne, threw me over the ropes." And why that thing, Madison Rayne? What? Look, anyone who's watched me for a long time knows I've had my issues with Madison Rayne in the past. I've said a lot of things about her that weren't exactly flattering. Of course, that's old news now. But why would she say something like that about Madison Rayne, who has not even officially turned heel? I think she's going in that direction, but still, technically, she's a babyface now. And why would she say something like that? Brandy doing stuff like that is why I say that she's entitled. I mean, she comes off that way. She comes off like she wants to be handed things, and just feels like a very entitled person. So I kind of called her on that. It says that thing. Wow. Yeah, this is why I say you're entitled. Hey, feel free to beat some sense into her, Madison. Feel free to break her legs. He says, oh, and then she responded to me. She says something like, I don't know the exact tweet, but it's like, I respect people who deserve it, and whatever. It's like, oh, so a multi-time champion doesn't deserve your respect? Do you understand how that makes you a rookie sound? It's like she has no idea how she comes across. Like, yeah, I haven't always said nice things about Madison Rayne, but again, I'm not a wrestler. I'm just critiquing a TV show. If I'm a rookie in the division with this person, hey, like it or not, she's a multi-time champion. And as a rookie, you got to respect that. And here's Brandy calling her, yeah, I was eliminated by that thing. It was such an odd, out-of-place thing to say. Actually reflected pretty badly on Brandy. Crimson and Gunner are returning to TNA. Yeah, apparently they're going to be a tag team. I'm excited. A lot of this we can cover on Saturday during the. Who you can't stand more, Barry Allen or Star Wars prequel Anakin Skywalker? Probably Barry. I mean, Anakin was a whiny little bitch, but you know, at least he hasn't caused any extinction level events. Barry Allen or Robbie E? Oh God. Have him stand back to back so the bullet goes through both of them. Gravity Falls was a Disney show that was written well and also for adults. There you go. Christmas. Things like Space, Lost Galaxy, RPM, Lightspeed Rescue all prove that it can be sophisticated, well-written, and mature and still be G-rated. There you go. Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, and Wild Force 2. Okay. I know he's back, but you were tweeting the Gunner returned. Wow, I'm a little more excited about Crimson returning, actually. Defenders teaser. Thought it was kind of funny. I think everyone was expecting this big bombastic thing, and it was just them standing in an elevator. Kind of trolling people a little bit. It was funny. It does kind of suck that we have to wait until like August to get it. Not sure what the holdup is, because we know they finished filming recently. Is post-production really going to take that long? Okay. Here, make a new anime live-action movie. Here's an idea. Golf Force. Ever heard of it? I have heard of it, actually. I remember watching Golf Force on Saturday Anime. It was a thing on Sci-Fi back when it was the Sci-Fi channel. They had this segment on Saturday morning, so they would show old anime movies. And 1 week it was Golf Force. I think there's been a couple Golf Forces. This one was Eternal Story. I think that was the first one. I liked it. About an all-female spaceship crew who find out someone is on board trying to attack them sexually. They end up crashed on a jungle planet, though still. Okay. And I guess that is about it. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. I will see you guys on Saturday. I'm pretty sure I don't have to work on Saturday. But if I have to push it to a different day, there's always a notice on my Twitter. So follow me on Twitter for updates at TheRealFK9. I will talk to you guys on Saturday. Peace out.